Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm Ross Benjamin of RBWins.com. It's Wednesday, December the 14th. I'd like to wish each and every one of you a very happy holiday season. And like every Wednesday, I'm joined by Mr. Jesse Schul of JesseSchul.com. And Jesse, how are you, my friend?
Doing great, Ross. It's been a great start to December for me, and looking forward to the holidays, looking forward to bowl games and dinners with family.
Sounds good to me, that's for sure. And time of year where a lot of people get stressed out, we lose sight of the fact that it's supposed to be a happy time of year, not a stressful time of year, but easier said than done. But I hope, like I alluded to earlier, from me to all of you, I hope that you have a very, very enjoyable and Merry Christmas. Anyway, Jesse, we're coming down to the nitty gritty in the NFL, and today we're going to be touching upon two NFL games in particular. We're going to be touching upon the game between the Patriots and the Raiders, and also which you will be covering, and I'll be looking at the Titans and the Chargers. But before we get to that, tell the folks a little bit about what you've been doing of late, or how you've been doing of late, I should say, and also what you may have coming up this week. I know the bowl schedule is going to be hefty going forward, and the NFL, we're getting down to, like I touched upon, the nitty gritty, the final 4 weeks of regular season action, where a lot of teams have a lot to play for and some very little.
Well, Ross, I do have more World Cup plays. I know I mention that every time I come on. There's a game that's going off in a couple hours here this morning. And I do have a play up on the first set of bowl games on Friday, the Cure Bowl. And I'm a little hesitant to put out picks on bowl games too early because, as you know, there's going to be a lot of news coming out about opt-outs, players that have got themselves in a wee bit of trouble. These young guys tend to get in trouble around bowl season and get suspended, and such things happen. So I don't want to put too much out there too quickly. But don't worry, I will be putting out plays on bowl games, and it really, I pretty much play every sport that's going on. I tackle it all. So and been doing quite well so far in December as well, I might add.
Very good, Jesse. Perennially on the weekly and monthly and annual leaderboards on whatever site he's on. Myself, I will have a play on a Cure Bowl as well, the UTSA and Troy game, which shapes up to be probably the best bowl matchup between the Friday and Saturday games, which total about 8 contests, not about 8 contests in total. So looking forward to that. Now, you can get that at my website, rbwins.com. For $35, and I'll guarantee that if you don't win, I will credit your account back the $35 that you spent. Now, having said that, that's just a guarantee. In all sports right now, I've been making a killing since November the 14th. They're about 59% during that course of time. And I will say this, I very seldom do this, but I'm a proud member of sportsmemo.com as well, guest handicapper there. And you could get that same pick, the Cure Bowl, at Sports Memo right now, right up until game time for just $2. Okay, so again, folks, I don't want to make a habit of doing that, but they're running a special at Sports Memo, and as Jesse's well aware of, on occasion they'll do a Tuesday special where they'll feature 3 handicappers, sell their best picks for $2. And I was a feature handicapper this Tuesday, but I opted to use a Friday game, and that game's still up for sale for $2. And like I touched upon, it will continue to be up for sale and right up until game time for $2. My college basketball, 22-11 with my last 33. NBA since April 1st of this year at 57%. That'll make you a lot of money. NFL right now, number 3 at Sports Memo. College basketball, number 1 at Sports Memo. So again, folks, and those are the same picks I'm using at my website because there's no other handicappers at my website. There's really no rankings. but there just tells you what kind of year I'm having, because there's great handicappers over at sportsmemo.com, including Mr. Jesse Schul, who I believe is still number one in the NFL, correct?
That is correct.
Very good, Jesse. All right, let's get to our games. We're going to be talking Patriots and Raiders. Jesse, right now, the New England Patriots are a 1-point favorite, and the total in this contest is 40. Where are we here? 44.5. And this game was originally going to be a Sunday night telecast, but because of where these teams are in the standings right now, New England's still they're 7-6, still a long shot to make the playoffs. The Las Vegas Raiders, in my estimation, mathematically alive, but they played themselves out of a playoff contention realistically with that decimating loss against the Rams in their previous game. Jesse, what's your take?
Well, Ross, you mentioned it. The Raiders pretty much killed any hopes of making the playoffs with the loss of the Rams, and what a devastating way to lose. Baker Mayfield comes in without any knowledge of the playbook, walks right off the plane and throws 2 touchdown passes in the last 3 minutes. And you got to think that sets up the Raiders for a letdown more than anything else. I will bet on teams coming off bad losses, but I'm looking for teams that got screwed by the refs, or teams that played really well and as a matter of circumstance, maybe some turnovers, they couldn't pull it out. But when a team just absolutely hands the game to their opponent, I don't like to follow up with them. And as you mentioned, the Pats are still alive in the playoff race, but they have to win this game. If they lose this game, they're out of it. Derek Carr last week, 11 of 20 passing, 137 yards and 2 picks. He's been pretty disappointing. Now he's matching up against a Pats defense that ranks 5th in scoring defense in the NFL, allowing just 18.4 points per game. The Patriots have won 5 straight against the Raiders, and the Patriots are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 road games. It's, like I say, a do or die situation for New England. I like Belichick in this spot. I think the Raiders just have too many problems to fix at this point.
Yeah, the Raiders are so Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, entering that contest against the Rams, they seemed to be on the right track. They had the look of a team that could possibly win out or win 4 of their last 5, maybe, and get in contention for a final wild card spot in the AFC. But that got all laid to rest with the result that happened at SoFi Stadium last Monday night. And what a brutal loss for the Raiders. And they've had plenty of those, Jesse. How many games have they blown double-digit leads in this year? I think 3 or 4 games they've done so, and a couple of them came at home. So I don't know how you could trust this team or have any confidence in this team to cover for you or win for you. Now, they could pull the upset, surely, but again, I would agree with Jesse right now. Who would you trust? New England with Belichick or the Raiders with Josh McDaniel? It's keeping it quite simple. I know the majority of you out there, when I just asked a simple question, probably the majority of you out there are going to answer that with New England and Belichick. So I'll leave it at that. Let me take a look.
For those that do like the Raiders, you might want to look at them for the first half, so you don't end up suffering that crushing defeat when they blow it at the end of the game. Because the Raiders in the first half have probably got a pretty good record for the season.
Great point. A real good point. Yeah, it speaks hand in hand what I just mentioned about them blowing leads. So, I mean, to me, there's some internal problems there. I'm not convinced. I think Josh McDaniels is one of those coaches that is a way better coordinator than he'll ever be as a head coach. He failed miserably with Denver. He's failing with the Raiders team that a lot of people had high expectations for this year. When you look at the offensive talent on this team, there's no excuse why they shouldn't be better than the record they currently have right now. So anyway, Jesse Schul, he's going to take New England. They're -1. I think Jesse would echo the sentiments that you might want to look at the money line here, because you probably can catch a price of -115 to -125 on this game. And you hate to catch a push if they win by one. I know the probability of that occurring is low, meaning falling on one, but to pay the extra 5 to 10 cents on a dollar to use the money line is well worth it, folks, in my opinion. So anyway, let's get to my game, and that's going to be the Tennessee Titans at the LA Chargers, 4:25 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. Right now, the Chargers are a 3-point favorite. The total in this game is anywhere from 46.5 to 47, 46.5 at Caesars, 47 everywhere else. So I'm going to be looking at the total, so that is important to keep in mind. Here's the thing. You have one team in the LA Chargers that can't stop the run. You have another team in the Tennessee Titans that has a star running back in Derrick Henry. You have one team in the Tennessee Titans that can't stop the pass. And you have another team in the LA Chargers that are number 3 in the NFL in passing offense. There you go, folks. Keep that all in mind. The Chargers, number 28 against the run, 147 yards per game allowed, which is atrocious. Number 32 in terms of opponents' yards per attempt on the rushing. It's 5.4 yards per rushing attempt opponents are getting against that Chargers defense. Conversely, the Chargers, number 3 passing offense in the league, like I just touched upon, at 273 per game. And Tennessee is number 31 in the NFL in pass defense, allowing just a shade under 284 yards per contest. As a matter of fact, this surprised me a bit, Jesse. I looking through the numbers for Tennessee when I saw their where they stood in terms of NFL ranking against the pass. This is a Tennessee Titans defense that's allowed 300 or more yards passing in 7 of 13 games this season. And in an unrelated topic, the LA Chargers, by the way, they're number 28 in scoring defense, allowing 25.1 points per game. The Tennessee defense, over their last 2 in losses against Philadelphia and Jacksonville, they allowed 35 and 36 points respectively, and also 453 and 428 yards of total offense to their opponents in those losses. The LA Chargers are coming off back-to-back unders. That's the 3rd time this season that's occurred. The Chargers have not gone under the total in 3 consecutive games all year long. In the previous 2 times that occurred, both of those games were followed up with overs, and both of those games produced combined scores of 48 and 57 points, and both went over the total like I just touched upon. Since 2020, Tennessee 10-2 to the over on the road whenever there's a total of 46.5 or greater. Also, since 2020, Tennessee 8-1 to the over on the road following a straight-up loss, which that qualifies. They're coming off a loss to Jacksonville last week. And lastly, Justin Herbert, 18-10 to the over in his career starts when his team is a favorite. And Ryan Tannehill, since 2018, 23-13 to the over in his starts on the road. I'm going to go with Tennessee and the LA Chargers over the total of 46.5. Jesse, back to you with your final thoughts before we sign off.
I will just say that I'm going to caution bettors out there to be careful betting in the bowl season. Wait till you get good information, and probably a good idea to reduce your bet size when betting on some of these early bowls. Not, the New Year's 6 bowls, perhaps a little more predictable in the college football playoffs, but some of these early bowls will be a little bit crazy with players opting out, and something to be careful about.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about that on our last 2 podcasts on this channel, and it's worth repeating again. When you see big line moves at this during the bowl season, especially when you see big line moves early, 99.9% of the time, they're not money related. There's something going on, whether it be players opting out for the NFL, whether it be key players opting to enter their name into the transfer portal, coaching changes. I mean, I discussed Louisville and Cincinnati yesterday, Jesse, a real unique situation there where Scott Satterfield, the head coach, who had been the head coach of Louisville all year, has left Louisville to take the job at Cincinnati, who they're playing in the bowl game. So, a lot of stuff going on in that regard, on the unfortunate and untimely death of Mike Leach, just a tragic event there. So many things to take a look at, and also keep in mind, folks, as opposed to when you handicap college football during the regular season, sometimes it's as simple as what team is more motivated to play at this time of year. If you get a team, for example, if you can find a team that was maybe top 10, top 20 in the preseason poll, high expectations, they finished 7-5 or 6-6 or even 8-4, and their expectations were much higher than where they landed. And they're in a minor bowl game, and they're a power conference team, and they're playing a group of 5 conference team. Situations such as those where, during the regular season, you might lean strongly toward that team, but in bowl season, it might be quite the contrary, because that group of 5 team is going to be highly motivated at the end of the year, because most likely they're going to have a very good record, and they're going to have a chance on national television to show their wares against a power conference team. So a lot of things to be considered in bowl season, but the NFL is in full flight. Last 4 weeks of the regular season, a lot to be played for in a lot of situations. Just because a team needs a game doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win, or even better, necessarily mean they're going to cover. So it's not that easy, folks. If it was, we'd be all on our own island sipping a Caribbean cold drink. So anyway, Jesse would like that. Anyway, until the next time, Jesse will be back with us on Friday. We'll be discussing college basketball at that time. I'll be back tomorrow with Doug Upstone with a couple more NFL free picks and various topic matters that we discuss on our podcast. But until the next time, Merry Christmas from Jesse and Ross to you and your families. Good luck and God bless, folks.